Welcome to the month of June, 30 days all about gin. Shining a spotlight on craft-made Canadian. Fun facts and proper tastings, live cocktails Friday afternoons. Discover 14 different brands and be influenced by me. Song for a roll. That's right, I'm a song for a roll.
Well, hello everyone. Happy first day of summer and welcome to this 21st day of June, my 30-day salute to gin during the month of June. So today I am westward bound and I'm off to beautiful British Columbia, the Comox Valley to be exact, for a look at and a taste of a history-making Vancouver Island artisanal craft gin that, well, let's just say, has been generating a lot of buzz for the last 7 years. Now, just before we start, as always, I do need to ask anyone watching who has not yet reached the legal age where they live to purchase and or consume alcohol to now sign off. Okay, so many of you know that during this year's June, I've been shining a spotlight on Canadian craft distilled gin. You know, we do indeed have a thriving craft gin scene up here in the Great White North, filled with ingenuity, ginovation, and very creative approaches. Unruly Gin, this one here, from the folks at Wayward Distillery, you know, they're a perfect example of all of these. Founded back in 2014 by husband and wife team Brian and Andrea Brimacombe, Wayward was always going to buck tradition and do things differently with regards to how they distill their products. And folks, let's make no mistake about it. They have stuck to that mantra since day one. Now, I was very fortunate to be able to chat a little with Wayward about their approach and, of course, their Unruly Gin. Here with some details on Wayward's, what I'm going to call unbelievable creativity and innovation, as well as unique distillation challenges that they face, is head distiller Laura Carbonell. All right, folks. Well, on this 21st day of June, my 30-day salute to gin, I have a very, very special treat for you all the way from beautiful British Columbia. I have the great pleasure of spending a little bit of time with the head distiller at Wayward Distillery, Laura Carbonell. Laura, welcome to Gi-Une, and thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for including us. I'm really excited.
Now, you guys are doing something a little bit different, or at least what the average to novice ginophile may find as a bit different. You guys are taking a different approach. You're making gin based on honey rather than grains or corn or more traditional things. Now, the first question I have for you is, why honey?
So the honey for us, why is it important? It would speak to our sustainability as a distillery. We're very excited about using honey because our beekeepers are actually the bees that provide our honey for our spirits, are pollinators. So they actually are, their hives will be transported to farms and greenhouses that are pesticide-free and organically grown. And the bees will pollinate crops. And then the honey is kind of a byproduct of that. And we make alcohol from it. So it is it's not taking food away. It's actually adding food to our plates. The bees are actually creating food, and the honey is a byproduct of that. We were also the first distillery in Canada to distill from honey. So we're very excited to have a unique opportunity to be able to work with that and offer something new and unique to the market.
Certainly unique. Absolutely. And so we talked about, honey's and the importance of honey and the sustainability. Now, when you're distilling as the head distiller there, when you're using honey as your distillate instead of corn or grains, wheat, and all that jazz, what are the challenges that come with that? I assume it wouldn't be as easy as doing it with grain, but I could be mistaken.
You are. It's different. So grain has its own challenges and honey has its own challenges. I'd say one of the biggest for us starting out was that people have been making mead for longer than we've been writing our history down. So we're pretty good at making mead, which is a fermented honey wine. Distilling from honey has different goals in the fermentation and how we handle it. And then when we distill it, what we're looking for. And it's not common to distill from honey. So finding resources and learning how to do it was very challenging. And a lot of what we do came from a lot of troubleshooting. And I'm a science nerd, so I'd be doing something like, but why? And then I'd have to go down the rabbit hole and learn about why that happens. And so it was a lot of tweaking to try and figure out how to handle honey and get the flavors that we want from it. As far as handling honey goes, grain is challenging because it's the sugar is in the form of starch. So the sugar's not ready to go yet. You have to bust it out of the grain. Honey, the sugar is ready to go, but it's very sticky. Sometimes it's entirely solid. So actually weighing and pouring and measuring it and working with it is challenging. And it's always sticky in the distillery. But also it's not a super friendly environment for yeast yet. It's all sugar, but it's also, they found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that's theoretically still good to eat because nothing can grow in it. It's so high in sugar and it's acidic that it'll keep forever, which means that yeast don't really want to live in there yet. So we have to kind of tweak the environment to make them happy enough that they want to eat the sugar and convert it to alcohol. So,
wow. So as we can easily see, this is certainly not your run-of-the-mill gin in any way, shape, or form. Now I wanted to know more about the bees themselves, and I asked Laura if they have bees on site or, seeing as how the people of Vancouver Island are always so friendly, do the folks at Wayward just knock on their neighbor's door and ask to borrow a couple of bees?
47 bees, please.
47 bees.
So we have 4 beehives on site at the distillery. One of them is actually an observation hive that's built against the window in our tasting room. So it's open to the inside of the hive. The wall of the hive is transparent, so you can see through and you can watch the bees do their waggle dance and see all the different colors of pollen they've gathered in. And sometimes you get to see the queen. She's pretty sneaky. And of course, if you check out our Facebook page, we have videos of, we've had a few bee swarms this year, which have been very exciting. It's been a new experience for us. We've had bees for a few years, but this is the first year that they've been so robust in their growth that when bees get a big enough population, they start to feel crowded in the hive, and they'll basically splinter off and go off to form a new hive. So they've been so robust in their growth this year that these are the first swarms that we've experienced, and they've been really fascinating and wonderful. It's magical to watch nature work. But as far as honey for our spirits go, we get all of our honey from one apiary. They're called Golden Clover Apiary. They're up by Tom's Lake. So not an island company. We looked for an island company that could provide us the amount of honey that we go through, and we just clear the island out. And we also, it's important if you have some honey experience. There's different flowers will have different flavors in the honey, and we need a consistent floral source so that our gin tastes consistent every time you try it. So this is all clover honey that you're trying. And of course, our bees they're pollinators. So they go out to farms and greenhouses and pollinate crops. And then they rest on clover fields. So that's a byproduct of their normal work. The apiary that provides their honey for us, when we joined up with them, when we partnered with them, they had 300 hives. And through our partnership, they've grown to 1,400 beehives. Wow. So that's absolutely wild. Yeah.
Alrighty, so thanks to Laura, we have some great insights into the Wayward processes, but the burning question that I know is with you all right now, what does Unruly Gin smell and taste like? Well, let's indeed find out. So we're going to calibrate our nose, right? We're going to bring the glass up 3 times, get our olfactory senses ready. 1, 2, 3. Now we're ready for a big sniff. You know, the first thing that I get is actually what I don't get, or what I didn't expect to not get. It's a lot of double negatives. The thing that's missing here is sweetness. With a honey-based gin, I expected it to be sweet, and it's not. This is fairly light on the nose. I mean, the honey comes through, there's no doubt about it, but it's a floral type of honey, and I'm getting honeysuckle notes as well. I mean, citrus abounds in here, and then I get a woodsy, almost smoky-like note. There is some juniper, and there's also a little bit of Christmas tree in here, but it's very, very mild. And, you know, I kind of have to dig around for it. It's a little savory. There's a little licorice in here, also some cedar, a little bit of lavender, and, you know, maybe a little bit of black pepper. I mean, there is lots going on in this glass, and it's all lovely. Time to taste. Sláinte. We always move it around, right? Coat those 5 flavor receptors. Okay, so what do we get? Well, there's a little bit of richness on the tongue, you know, just a little bit of body, but it's not heavy, and again, it's not sweet. That floral honey note really kind of sings out for me. And there's a little bit of this earthy, vanilla-y, clovery kind of note that comes through. Really liking that. Floral again abounds, you know, lavender, chamomile coming through. I get a little hint of resiny pine, a little eucalyptus, and just a little bit of like anise or licorice. That likely comes from the sarsaparilla that's used in here. When was the last time you had a gin with sarsaparilla? It's a little woody now, a little savory, some junipers there in the back end, and just a hint of spice. Just yum. Overall, I think this is quite remarkable for a gin. It's very well balanced with each aroma and each flavor, in my opinion, playing a key role but not competing with each other. I also find it very refreshing. A little surprised at that, to be honest, but that's what I find it. Very refreshing, and I think it's a great gin choice for both gin enthusiasts and also, and maybe even more so, for those that think they don't like gin. The use of juniper here is very restrained. That's done by design. And that allows for the other botanicals to come through. So, you know, for folks that don't like gin or think they don't like gin, if it's that piney note, that resiny kind of, you know, evergreen Christmas tree note, if that's what's turning you off gin, or perhaps if that's what's bringing back unfortunate memories of a bad experience long ago, then this is most definitely a gin for you. Just lovely. Those botanicals sing through, just enough juniper to be gin. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, so I've got you intrigued. I've got you curious. Want to know how you can get a little unruly at home? It's easy. Just listen here to Laura.
Well, we do ship if you're not able to travel. I know everything is starting to loosen up with COVID, and hopefully we're going to be in a position where we can do a fair bit of traveling safely very soon. I'd love to see that again because we are in a beautiful place, but it's nice. My parents are in Calgary, so I'd love to go see them. But as far as finding our product goes online, we're also carried at quite a few private liquor stores in BC. It's a little bit tricky with the provincial liquor stores because of the way the laws are built, but a lot of the private liquor stores will carry us. And also invited to visit us at the distillery. We have a tasting room here as well.
Very good. And when you say ship, Laura, are you able to ship coast to coast?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. There you go, Canada. Your summer just got more tasty. So great news indeed for gin-loving Canadians across the country, coast to coast. Best thing for you to do is check out their website, waywarddistillery.com. The price per bottle is $52.19 Canadian for a 750 milliliter bottle. And of course, plus shipping if you do go that route. Now, for anyone that's thinking that, you know, maybe that price point is a bit pricey, in my opinion, it really isn't, and I actually find that price to be a very good value. And here's why. First, we need to understand that the price of honey is exponentially higher than that of traditional grains. not even in the same league. Second, there's the quality factor that comes from the folks at Wayward Distillery. All of the ingredients are top-notch, and almost all are exclusively local BC grown. And Wayward's commitment to quality goes far beyond just their ingredients. It's a cornerstone of who they are. You know, if a batch that's being produced at Wayward is not quite right, it just doesn't get used. Folks, they've dumped batches before. You see, the end product has to be excellent, and that takes time and money to produce. The recipe alone is based on over 40 different trial runs before they found the gin recipe that they loved. To me, that's the very definition of commitment. Now, Brian, one of the founders and owners of Wayward, has been quoted in saying, "Every sale is a first sale. We want people to buy our product because it's the best." I love that. Well said, Brian. Love it. Love it. And folks, I have some more exciting news to share with you all regarding some just released new innovative products from Wayward.
Well, the distillery is always a very exciting place to be. There's never a dull moment. But right now we're extra busy because next week is Pollinator Week. And because we are so excited about bees and pollinators, that's kind of our Christmas. We get really excited about it. So we have a lot of educational talks that are going to happen here, some tours, and we also have the release of a few new products. One of them is called the Rose Bee's Knees Gin Liqueur. It's got Nooka rose petals, our Unruly Gin, lemon juice, and honey syrup, and it's absolutely going to be a delicious summer drink. We're also coming out with, so being made from honey, we talked about, versus being flavored with honey. We have a spirit called Krupnik, which is a traditional Polish liqueur. It's spiced honey that is served at 40% alcohol, so at vodka strength. So honey that's been steeped with mulling spices and orange and lemon peel. We are coming out, so we've been asked for ages to come out with big bottles of the Krupnik, and we're going to be bringing out 750 milliliter bottles of that.
Awesome. Again, Wayward is a great example of how Canadian craft distillers are using really out-of-the-box thinking, and along with their passion and dedication to producing high-quality spirits, are getting the world to take notice of Made in Canada gin. So folks, that's a wrap. I want to sincerely thank Laura Carbonell for being so generous with her time and in sharing some absolutely phenomenal insights into Wayward Distillery's Unruly Gin. I also want to thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I know from talking to them that our craft gin distillers do too. Now more than ever, folks, it is crucial that we drink, buy, and support local. And you can help in another way by sharing my posts and using the hashtag #SipWithSomForAll. Together, we can spread the good word about what our craft distillers are up to and help our fellow Canucks from coast to coast put some tasty craft distilled Canadiana gin in their glass. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and cheers from Som for All.